So this morning, something that almost no one expected. 24 hours ago, Hunter Biden does not have a plea deal, is still under active investigation, and is no closer to putting his legal woes in the rearview mirror. And while his legal team scrambles to find a fix after yesterday's hearing essentially fell apart, Republicans are pouncing. It is giving the party a new reason to keep pressing forward with their investigations, crying foul over an alleged sweetheart deal. Listen to this.
I think it's all driven by the whistleblowers and just how credible those individuals are, and the fact that their testimony has not wavered.
It collapsed because it was a sweetheart deal from a family that was being protected.
Hunter Biden is getting a sweetheart deal that no other American who wasn't rich and had a father as the president would ever get, ever.
If you believe the whistleblowers and what they're saying, no, this was a sweetheart deal. It was corrupt in terms of how it was handled.
Just a point of fact, one of those whistleblowers is going to join us in this program later. In court, nothing came up about the whistleblower allegations. In fact, all three parties, the judge, the prosecutors, and the defense counsel, all agreed that this judge and this court and this hearing had no say or power to reinvestigate given those allegations by the whistleblowers. Okay, with us to discuss what we know from this court hearing, CNN senior political analyst Sean Avalon, CNN political commentator Scott Jennings. He worked on several campaigns for Mitch McConnell. He spoke with the minority leader yesterday after he froze at the podium. We're going to talk to him about that in a moment. But first, to Hunter Biden. Jim Jordan, Lindsey Graham, they know what happened in court. They know that the whistleblowers' allegations were not at all part of why this fell apart. But they're saying it anyways.
Well, I mean, I think fundamentally Republicans believe that there's so much more there with Hunter Biden, that this plea agreement, as it had been reported, was simply not sufficient. And
that's fine, but that's not why the judge questioned it.
Sure, but to them, I mean, look, they're not here to give you a legal analysis. They're here to give you the best political spin on this, and the political spin for them is true. Hunter Biden was involved in a lot of issues regarding foreign entities. A lot of money changed hands. There's been a lot of allegations about who knew what, why were they getting this money, foreign entanglements, and so for them to continue to talk about this. They think there's a direct link to Joe Biden. And so I suspect it's going to be an ongoing topic for the Republicans. I'm glad the judge, as a Republican, stood up for herself on this and didn't get steamrolled. This foreign lobbying issue, it's a real issue. It's a real criminal law. And there are legitimate questions about whether he skirted that one along with the tax laws he evaded.
So it was also clear yesterday that this is still an ongoing investigation, which is part of why this plea agreement fell apart. Our good friend Shan Wu pointing out today there was sort of a little win in this pause for both sides. Yes, Republicans can continue to talk about it, but the fact too that this is an ongoing investigation, that may actually make it a little harder in some cases for Republicans to get some of the information that they're after.
That may indeed be the case, but I think it really illustrates the fundamental sort of mislawyering that occurred, which is that the Hunter Biden defense team thought everything was going to be covered with very little basis. And this plea agreement essentially was about taxes and guns. And they thought it would cover everything. And there was very little reason for them to believe that, especially given that, as you pointed out earlier, the David Weiss, the prosecutor appointed by the Trump administration originally, said that there was an ongoing investigation. They apparently hadn't clarified that. So this is a bit of a pause. Republicans will look for political gain. There may very well be reasons to investigate the larger questions of money further. But this was a fundamental figure of lawyering with a lot of political implications. But don't expect Republicans to have fidelity to the facts of the case over the narrative they're trying to pursue and the investigations that probably should occur.
Well, they would say that the facts of the case haven't been fully given to the public. I mean, Republicans on Capitol Hill think there's a lot of information here that's being hidden from the public. It's why they had the whistleblowers come to Congress. I heard you say you're going to interview one. I think
Joseph Ziegler will be here in the 8 a.m. hour.
I think that's great. And so for as long as this has been going on, Republicans have believed a lot of things are being hidden from the public to protect Joe Biden. And so more facts are coming out, and that's a good thing. Transparency here for Joe Biden. He's the president. It's deserved.
I really want to. You talked to Mitch McConnell yesterday. Everyone is worried because he froze for 23 seconds at the podium, and this comes after several falls and a concussion. Is he okay? He's
okay. I talked to him yesterday evening. After he had his moment at the podium, he went back to the press conference and answered several questions. He was telling me about his schedule yesterday. After the press conference, he met with Kevin McCarthy. Then he had several meetings. Then he called me. Then he went and made a speech at a dinner. Then late last night, he went down to the floor, and they had some votes on NDAA, and he was down there for a while. So he kept up he did more yesterday than I did after his moment. I've spent a fair amount of time with him. I talked to him and communicate with him fairly often. He sounded fine on the phone to me, and he was telling me about all the things he was going to get done this week. So I didn't detect anything other than normal Mitch McConnell in his
Nothing
voice.
sounded off.
No.
And anybody else in his orbit raising concerns to you?
Well, look, anytime you see somebody that you care about have a moment, of course you have concerns. I mean, I've known this man since I was 16 years old and care about him very much. And so, of course, you have concerns, but I had the benefit of actually getting a chance to talk to him and hear his voice and listen to him talk about what he was doing with himself over yesterday and over the next few days. And he didn't sound like somebody who was any different to me than I've known him for the last several months. And I've spent some time with him since his fall, and he sounded like a guy who was very focused on his job.
Look, this is the kind of thing that should be understood by Americans to be well beyond partisan politics. It was hard to watch, and I think all folks should wish him well and recover in good health. And I think that's the kind of spirit we need to see more in our politics.
And we heard that from Chuck Schumer immediately yesterday as well. Thank you both very, very much. We'll continue to follow that.